Hi, welcome to Far From Eden. It's only been a few days, as normal. You know, I make videos Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. And it's only been 3 days, but it feels like an eternity because the world's on fire. It was kind of on fire before this, but somebody poured gasoline on it with the attempted ending of Donald Trump on Saturday. And I have been consuming an insane amount of content about the subject. It's fascinating to me. I am already a political junkie and a news junkie anyway, always have been. And now this. And of course, because of what we cover on this channel, and when I say we, it's you guys and me, my viewpoints on where a woman's place is, what a woman should be doing so that, the society functions better, she's happier, families are intact, etc. Also, another reason women should be in their place is because, well, people get hurt if women are in a place where really they don't belong. And I think regardless, I don't know how anybody looks at that absolute circus where the one female can't holster her weapon. She can't holster her weapon. And then I was watching some other content and somebody said, well, why is it even drawn in the first place? And I thought, that's a good point. Nobody else's is. I couldn't tell you because there's no rhyme or reason to anything that's being played out. Yeah, I can't hear what their earpieces are telling them. Like, I don't know what the communication is, but you can tell that it's absolute pandemonium. And somebody might say, well, of course it is. It was just a huge thing. And look what happened. Yeah, but that's what these people train for. This is what they train for. This is what they know. It shouldn't look like pandemonium when you zoom in on them. And even if it does look a little chaotic, you should be able to holster your weapon. And people can get really, really hurt when these women are just determined to play dress up and play Secret Service Barbie for their ego, for their whatever their reason is, whether it's Secret Service Barbie or police Barbie or whatever. People get hurt. Even if a woman is a CEO, well, she runs that company into the ground. People lose their jobs. Families lose, you know what I mean? There are real consequences to this ridiculousness of just going along with, okay, you can be a this, you can be a that, go ahead and go out into the workforce, go ahead and do that. Who benefits from women going out into the workforce? Really? Off the top of my head, employers, because they get, they have all these people that want jobs and they don't have to compete for them anymore. Now the employees have to compete to get a job, and then wages are half. I know the children of the families, they don't benefit when there's nobody at home and you're being raised by school and daycare and God knows who else. But so on Saturday, that, allowing these selfish humans to be in this like position that they didn't earn and they're not suited for, etc. It almost catapulted the world into, World War III. And if you say, well, goodness gracious, I don't know. I mean, there'd be some civil unrest here. Really? Do you remember Archduke Ferdinand? You don't think other nations and other powers that be wouldn't see this as a like time to pounce? And even the evil in this country. Like, so I am just, I'm always really, really, I've got this seething underneath at this, at these women, because they don't think about the people that it's going to hurt when they make these decisions to go and be superhero Barbie. And it just almost hurt a ton of people, not just former President Trump, not just him. And that would be bad, obviously, but it would have hurt a lot more people than just him. So, DEI hires, diversity hires, it's harmful. It's harmful. And this is like the best example of that. If anybody doesn't get it in your life, maybe show them this. Maybe then they'll, get a clue. But so I want to watch with you guys just a video from a news, regular like news organization, because interestingly enough, they're allowed to cover some of this stuff, which is weird. Everything shifted. Now you can say things you couldn't say before, like about Biden or about whatever. And you can talk about DEI as maybe not the best idea, which before it was like, oh, you're a racist, we have to cancel you. And that makes me a little suspicious, and for other reasons, but for that, we'll just set that aside for now. So much going on in my mind that I can hardly keep it straight. Thankfully, I'm not in charge of keeping anybody safe or running any kind of companies. That's just me and little Lola, my doggie, which whenever I think of her, and she's over there getting into trouble, whenever I think of her, I'm reminded to ask you to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. Regularly demonetized, obviously. I'm sure it stands, I don't have to say it. So let's just go into a little, not play by play, but let's just get into it. Let's just, I feel like ripping some women apart. And I feel like these women right now, they've got it coming. They've got it coming. They should be so embarrassed. I want to say that real quick. I'm always saying on this channel, like, oh my God, these women should be embarrassed. Like when we're watching a man reacts video or something like that, I'm like, oh my God, these women, making their TikToks, talking about where are all the good men and all that. Like, aren't you embarrassed? You should be embarrassed. You left your husband, like, should be embarrassed. Your body count is, 5,000 and or 5, that's just 5 is just as bad. But anyway, they should be embarrassed. These women should be embarrassed. Like you would think the head honcho woman would be embarrassed enough that she might resign. But we're allergic to accountability, And I'm saying that all the time too on this show. Like, they're allergic to accountability when we're watching cop cam videos or, the man reacts type video, or even when we're looking at a home app video. Like, I will often say, allergic to accountability. Don't understand that actions have consequences. I didn't think that I would be making this video. I didn't think that I would be making a video talking about that a female in charge of keeping the former president safe couldn't holster a weapon. I at least thought they'd get some kind of like, what's that basketball chick, Brittany Griner, whatever that one that brought the weed into Russia, that one. I mean, at least have, something, right? Okay.
Take a look at what happened.
It's the Secret Service's biggest crisis in decades. How did a 20-year-old gunman climb a rooftop with a rifle and fire shots at former President Donald Trump from less than 150 yards away?
I'm sorry. You said crisis? I think you meant failure. Failure. What's wrong, sweetie pie? Can't call out your fellow women? It's a failure. Biggest failure in decades. Say it. Say it.
Shooters down. Are we good to move?
This is a colossal failure for the Secret Service.
The Secret Service isn't just responsible for the safety and security of the protectee. They're also there for the safety and the security of the people that are showing up to these events. So this is tragic all around.
Here's what we know about the security gaps that led to the assassination attempt on Trump.
Yeah, look, there he is.
In a video taken by a bystander shortly before the shooting, the gunman, Thomas Matthew Crooks, could be seen crawling on a roof as people were heard pointing him out.
They shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals. We have...
And a witness told the BBC,
The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle.
but those alerts, if heard by any officers, didn't seem to make it up the chain back to the command center.
That's a massive communication failure. When I was overseeing sites, we would have Secret Service agents right next to police with police radios. If there's something that's going on, boom, everybody knows instantly. Quite frankly, if the
Do y'all see this picture here where I've paused it? What is this little woman doing? Seriously, what assistance is she providing right here in this moment? Why is his arm even around her? He's not putting weight on her. She would fall right down. What is this even for? What is she doing except playing pretend? This is pretend. And the poor man's just been shot, and he has to play pretend too, because he's got to have his arm around her. He doesn't have to, but I mean, he's a little, he's got a bit of another thing going on. Look at that. He's not putting weight on her. He's pretending to. He's like, I guess I'll just put my arm around. Like, it's just ridiculous. Her head isn't high enough to shield his head. What is this even for? What is she even doing? What is this? So, and as far as the communication, didn't reach them, we don't know what the communication did. We don't know if they had open communication between the two of them. It's just absolutely, absolutely inexcusable.
detail had known there was an armed person climbing up on a roof, they would have evacuated the president right away, no questions asked.
Beyond that, the Secret Service said it relied on local law enforcement to secure the building that Crooks climbed. Typically, Secret Service and local police operate together in concentric circles. Closest to the principal, in this case Trump, are teams of highly trained Secret Service agents. In the middle perimeter, there's usually a mix of Secret Service and local law enforcement who might cover portions of the motorcade and any pre-event screening. And in the outer perimeter, security largely falls on local law enforcement. In Butler, the building the shooter climbed was technically outside of the rally venue, and the Secret Service didn't sweep it.
It fell through the cracks, which still falls to the Secret Service because it means nobody checked to make sure the plan was in fact implemented correctly.
You know what I would do? Well, I shouldn't say it that way. You know what a bad person or bad group of people would do if they wanted to take somebody out and there was something in their way? If there was a way to make that something in the way be completely incompetent, then everybody would be blaming them. And I do. I just don't want you guys to think that I actually only think that it's just that these women are incompetent and that's why this happened. I think there's more to it than that. However, I try very hard not to make this a political channel and not to bring all of my conspiracy theories to the channel. And I don't think it would be helpful right now. But what we do have too is we do have the women who are willing to go and be incompetent. I get that they don't think they are, but the problem is that they're clearly not having the same training. They're clearly not having they don't answer to the same meritocracy because they don't have to. And people suffer for it. They suffer for it. Because, I mean, the firefighter who was shielding his family from the bullets and didn't make it, you know? I would love to go up to Kim Cheadle and demand answers for that man's family, you know?
According to the Butler County Sheriff, right before the shooting, a local officer climbed onto the building and saw Crooks, but dropped to the ground when Crooks aimed his rifle at him. In an interview with ABC News, the Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle said local officials were inside the building when Crooks scaled it, but said,
"The buck stops with me. I am the director of the Secret Service."
There are also questions about why counter-sniper teams located behind Trump didn't take out the shooter earlier, even though they appeared to be facing in his direction.
Once the shooting started, they had rounds on target almost instantly. So that tells me that that shooter had come to their attention and they were in the decision loop.
The investigations into what went wrong will also focus heavily on what happened before the event even took place. The Butler rally was announced by the Trump campaign 10 days ahead of time, which experts say gave the Secret Service plenty of time to do site advance planning and potentially even eliminate the line of sight from the building where the gunman was perched to Trump's stage.
In this situation, you actually had an event site that was being built. So they're there to find out what the dimensions are going to be, what the stage is going to look like, where it's going to be located. And then based on that information, they are then looking at potential threats, including areas of high ground, and how to best mitigate those threats with the overall security plan.
Former Secret Service agents say the buildings near Trump's stage in Butler would be a glaring risk and not something that could have been missed by advance agents.
We lost a president in 1963. How did it happen? Man up on a roof with a rifle.
I mean, he was in a building sticking out a window. I feel like details matter, so he wasn't up on a roof. But all right, dude. And I guess I could have let that go, but I'm just not okay with letting any details go right now.
And guess what? The protocols that went into place from 1963 until this day is that we prioritize high places because we understand a man with a rifle, woman with a rifle, whoever with a rifle, if they had.
That's so ridiculous. He had to stop himself so as not in this moment. He had to stop himself from excluding women from being possible assassins. I mean, if you want to know how women get to that level, get advanced, get promoted, etc., it's not from other women. It's not from other women doing it because they aren't there to promote them. It's men doing it. It's simp type men. It's men like this man did right now. I don't know his deal. I don't know how he is in his life, but he did just say, well, man, woman, you know, like, stop it. Just stop it. Knock it off. You're not helping anyone. That mindset led to some of the bullcrap we have going on right now, where you're just too afraid to say to women, no, 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 no. Go sit down and be quiet. Stop it. No, that's ridiculous to have a woman as a Secret Service agent. No, that's ridiculous to have a female police officer. No, I'm sorry, that's ridiculous.
Any level of expertise, they can kill a president very quickly.
One thing law enforcement experts say was done correctly, despite widespread criticism on social media, was the evacuation of the former president after he was shot.
The reaction from the shift inside that inner perimeter was very quick.
I guess he doesn't want people to remember 1981 and what happened when Hinckley shot Ronald Reagan. Well, this is not quick. This thing that happens in just a second when I hit play again, it's not quick. They sat there forever. It was an eternity to get this man away to safety. It was like 40 seconds for Reagan to be dumped, like pushed, over, so his head's not a target, anymore. Kept crumpled over, and then carried away. And then taken off at about 200 miles an hour. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. Away to safety, right? That's not what happened here. This is not what happened here. This is not what happened. Lola, no scratching.
And as it's happening, if you listen closely, you can hear the instructions to former President Trump to get down. And that is so that they can cover him effectively. That was done.
Ooh, are they going to show him stand back up? Because they were not covering him effectively when little 5'2" chick is just holding on to him as if she's scared. That's what it looks like, because it's ridiculous that some little tiny little munchkin would be providing physical cover for the president. Her head is not high enough to cover his head. That's why are you even on the detail, little woman?
Done very well.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir. Let me get my shoes, sir. Hold on, your head is bloody.
What you can't hear is what's being said to the agents through the radios from the command post, maybe the counter sniper team, because there's other things going on. So they're going to do what they're told. And if they're told now it's safe to move, then that's what they're going to do.
Well, experts say it's not ideal from a security perspective that Trump stopped to.
Do you see? Do you see his head? We can see his head. If we can see his head, guess what? It's sitting there as a target. Because little chick here, her head is down here. She is not even looking. She's looking down this way. I saw on the video, I don't know if they'll show it, but you can see where the Secret Service agent, one of the gentlemen to her, what would be like, it was to be her left, one of them actually has his hand up where her head should be to cover his face, because she's not able to do that physically.
Pump his fist. The shift did a good job getting him to the car known as the spare, but the team near the spare,
They were clearly confused. You could see it. You can't hide it. They didn't.
They cut it again. They cut it just right before she's drawing her weapon. Little Granny got a gun right there, playing dress up. She draws her weapon. I'm not sure why. Is she providing cover? It doesn't seem like it. First of all, she's so short. How can she see anybody? How does she have a good van? So angry. I apologize for that, you guys. This is not my first attempt at making this video. It has taken me several attempts because I am so angry and so frazzled. And frankly, this whole ordeal has, made me a little sick. So it's infuriating. It's infuriating.
Didn't know what to do.
President Biden has been briefed about the assassination attempt and has pledged a quick probe led by the FBI.
I'm instructed that this investigation be thorough and swift, and the investigators will have every resource they need to get this done.
The House Oversight Committee is also investigating what went wrong and has called on Cheadle to testify. In a statement, Cheadle said the Secret Service is working with all involved federal, state, and local agencies to understand what happened, how it happened, and how we can prevent an incident like this from ever taking place again.
All right. Well, Miss Cheadle, one of the things that one way to have it never happen again would be to fire yourself. They're allergic to accountability. Miss Cheadle has blamed it on the local police in the area. She has said, oh, well, kind of like, well, we thought they were watching. Stop it right now. You thought they were watching it? Are you serious right now? Did you? And also another one, and this is my favorite excuse. Well, it was too dangerous because it's a bit slippery. It's too slippery up there. It's kind of sloped and it's slippery. You know what's also dangerous? Oh, protecting the president. Do you know what you signed up to do? Protect the president and the people that came to watch. You don't see any, and you don't see, and you don't hear anywhere. And I've seen all the content. I've seen mainstream. I've seen alternative. These women are not taking accountability for this. Blame the local police office. They should have done it. Blame the slippery roof. No, lady, no. And we're going to do everything so this doesn't happen again. It shouldn't have not happened this time. This is not like, don't worry, they're going to investigate it. Excuse me. I think that we've pretty much solved the issues with the Secret Service, as far as this goes. Like, get some competent people. Why do you not want competent people? Why does your agency want to hire incompetent people on purpose? These aren't even the most competent women that you could hire. Oh, you guys, it's so infuriating. And it just, they just will not take full accountability. She should resign in shame. She should be apologizing. She should be, and she's not. She's not apologizing to anyone. She's making excuses. Don't worry, because they're going to investigate themselves. It'll be fine. It'll be like the Warren Commission after JFK. It'll be like the 9/11 Commission. Oh, we got all our answers with that, didn't we? Give me a break. Like, you're gonna investigate yourselves. Well, that should turn up some real interesting answers. And you know what? And they might say, oh, you know what, though? We really have decided we're gonna, get rid of the DEI policies, because I will never believe, you will not convince me anymore, because I used to think, oh, they're just incompetent. The government's just incompetent. Congress is just incompetent. No, what if they're doing exactly what they are supposed to do? What if they're supposed to be incompetent? What if that's the case? You notice we're allowed to criticize. We're allowed to talk about the problem with DEI hires. We're allowed to say these people failed. Why? Because maybe that's a red herring. I don't know. I really don't know. But I do know that you should darn well be able to holster your weapon. If you're in any kind of law enforcement, you should have so much range time that it's just second nature, and you can do it in your sleep. Muscle memory, it just should happen automatically. Shouldn't matter. I've talked to people who have gone through some of this type of training, and they say you go through this training with people screaming at you and to sort of try to recreate like the intense stress and the situation that you will have to do these things in. Makes a lot of sense. Do you guys think that those women, I know you've seen the videos. You've seen the videos of that chick trying to holster a gun, which, by the way, this video, which is, what was it? Goodness gracious, I've seen so much. Wall Street Journal. I thought so. I didn't want to say it wrong. Yeah, the Wall Street Journal. Like, they cut it right with Granny Got a Gun. That's what I call her. Anyway, I'm not supposed to say that word on YouTube, but whatever. Like right when she draws it, right? They're like, oh, and they got him to the vehicle and it was in great timing. And well, no, they didn't. They didn't. And they didn't show them getting him in there, which they had a hard time doing when you compare it to Reagan in 1981. You know, if it was just a bunch of, 6-foot+ men around who were the elite of the elite and had the proper training, do you think it would have looked like that? No, it wouldn't. It's because we've got these women who are down there, participating in this whole ridiculous charade of protection, and a woman at the helm who can't take accountability, didn't oversee any kind of like planning, because you guys know. If there's one thing us women are good at, it's making decisions and planning and deciding things based on, spatial knowledge and distances and that kind of a thing. That's where we shine. I mean, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And I haven't seen anybody basically rant about these women sufficiently and call them out the way they need to be called out. It is disgusting. It is embarrassing. It is an absolute tragedy. And, we talk about, oh, he missed. Yeah, he did, but he didn't. He didn't miss. That's the thing. He didn't miss. Trump turned its head at the very last second. He didn't miss because the target moved. So he aimed, he shot right where he wanted to on that one that ended up getting Trump's ear. So he didn't miss. His target moved. And he definitely hit that heroic father who was who was sacrificing himself to protect his wife and children. I just want to know how those women, the little, Secret Service Barbie who's holding on to Trump and Granny got her gun there, can't holster it, whatever. Like what? And Kim Cheadle, the head honcho chick, how do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night with this? And how many female police officers are there in our country right now that are creating more dangerous situations and causing people to get hurt or injured or worse? How long until at least you don't have to be as extreme as I am, because apparently thinking a woman has her place and a man has his place is extreme. But how long until some of these people who are, normies say, she's not tall enough. She's not physically capable. What? Everybody is so indoctrinated, and they're also so afraid to say the wrong thing. They're afraid to hurt a woman's feelings. They're afraid to speak truth. And it's gotten to this level that we can't say full-on truth, because you can say, oh, well, these people weren't prepared and these people weren't this. But let's just say, I wish they'd say, look, women don't belong in the Secret Service. Just say it. But they won't. And this trickles down into your relationships, and this is in the court system, and this is you guys, you men you get hurt because of all of this, Because you know what? There's lots of men who are well prepared, well trained, everything, and those women took their jobs. And there's some man who should be the head of the Secret Service, but he's not because she took his job. What about those people? You know? Guys, I know tonight's not as long as normal. Not feeling the best. It probably has something to do with what happened Saturday. I'm sure that's some of it. Some of it's the heat. I don't know. Some of it's just like MS just does what MS is going to do. And you guys have been so sweet, so nice. I have upped my vitamin D. I listened. I'm doing better, doing much better with eliminating sugar. I know that's why the carnivore diet works so well, is because you're not eating sugar. You're not eating carbs. You're not doing that. So I really appreciate you guys. It is like having 17,000 brothers. And I really appreciate you. Hopefully you didn't mind me covering a little bit of news. I didn't see how we got around it with the fact that it was women doing this. So you guys, please remember to feed your souls. Please remember to protect your peace. I've definitely had to keep reminding myself of my own advice to stay somewhat sane and somewhat healthy. And we're gonna need it, because I don't think we've seen the end of this. I don't think and by that I mean the end of the craziness. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.